It's not a fun, sexy topic to talk about, but I think it's important because it's such a big part of our society and culture and how we interact with each other. How do you balance social media use while staying creative and feeling connected to your community? One of the biggest things in my experience that kills creativity is anxiety and comparing yourself to other people. I see social media as this sort of double-edged sword. On one side, we rely on it because it helps us find creative inspiration and helps us build an audience and a community to share our work with. It also gives us visibility. It lets you see people that are like you and what they're doing with their gifts and talents and how they're sharing it with the world. On the other hand, scrolling can be a big waste of our time and a waste of our creative potential. I think there's a time and a place for scrolling, but when it becomes an addictive habit, then you sort of find yourself giving up on your goals, and you see so many people being successful or telling you what you need to do to be successful, and it creates this anxiety and self-doubt, and you stop trusting yourself. And I think the minute you stop trusting yourself, you lose that light in you, the thing that makes you want to create in the first place. There's so many options on social media for you to feed your creativity or to suffocate it. So how do we stay creative and connected without burnout? I mean, there's a bunch of things you can do. I think one that's really worked for me is creating friction for mindless use. One thing I do is I delete TikTok and Instagram often. When I'm kind of done with it for the day, I will delete it. When I want to log back in, I have to go back and re-download the app. And just that extra step helps me check in with myself. Do I really want to be scrolling right now? Is this worth the effort of re-downloading it? Or do I want to do something else with my time right now? There's other things like being intentional about who you follow and engage with. Are the people that you're following, does their content uplift you? Does it make you start to self-doubt? Notice how you're feeling when you're consuming content. Another huge thing is go out into your own community in person and find people. Could be as simple as going to an open mic or an art show or a creative workshop or signing up for a class somewhere. Finding spaces in your own community where creative people and artists live, showing up to those spaces. Maybe it's just going to the library. I took a songwriting class in my city. It was a small class. There were maybe 5 or 6 other people that showed up, and it was once a week for 8 weeks. It was extremely fulfilling to be able to talk about music and songwriting with other people who are equally as passionate about it. And I feel like it healed a lot of feelings of self-isolation within me. And then obviously taking breaks, periodically detoxing from social media. Maybe you decide that weekends, Saturdays are going to be a no social media day, or maybe the mornings, or maybe you want to take a full week or month off. Find other ways to soothe your mind. It puts you back in touch with your own intuition. That's huge. If you don't trust yourself, how are you going to make anything? I think social media is an incredible tool, but it can help or hurt us depending on how we use it. And a lot of it feels like it's out of our control, because a lot of it is out of our control. The way that platforms like TikTok and Instagram are set up, the kind of content that's promoted, and the algorithm itself, those things are all kind of out of our control, but there's a lot that's still in our control. We do have power over what we give our attention to. I just want to encourage you to try out one of these things. Take a small break from social media or sign up for a class in your community. I feel like this past year, I really fought to get back in touch with myself and my inner compass. I came out of it feeling more sure about myself than I've ever felt. I know now that my worth comes from a place that no one can touch. And I still want to share things and be involved on social media, but I feel like I've repaired my relationship with it in a lot of ways, and I have more checks and balances in place so that I can maintain my own sanity and mental health and still create things and still want to share things. I'm curious what you guys have in place, what works for you. What are some things that have helped you maintain a healthy relationship with social media? If you have taken longer breaks from it, what insights came out of those breaks? If you have any wisdom to share, please share. I'd love to hear it. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the internet somewhere.